So, following up on the debate about the Chinese characters, which is, by the way, I'm still a 50-50 about, right? And I'm, I sound like I'm leaning towards getting rid of the characters a little bit, only because the argument coming in, or and actually, among most of my students, all of my students think that they shouldn't get rid of Chinese characters, or we shouldn't get rid of Chinese. And most Chinese people I talk to think that they shouldn't get rid of Chinese characters. Only because so many people are very heavily on one side, then I'm leaning towards a little bit towards the getting rid of side. And and I also think it's quite an important topic. I think publicly talking about it is actually quite important because Chinese people seem to be pretty reserved in talking about the
It's
problems, obstacles in their culture. Would you agree with me?
absolutely. Openly discussing challenges and obstacles can be difficult, especially in cultures that prioritize harmony and face saving.
Yes,
But
and
having
it's not just that. Is if you criticize about one's tradition, like characters or culture or something that your ancestor have left you, Chinese people are much more reluctant to openly criticize or raising problems of it. That's my point. Would you agree?
I agree, traditions and cultural heritage are deeply respected, and questioning them can feel like challenging one's identity or honoring ancestors. It's a sensitive topic, but addressing it thoughtfully can lead to meaningful
I
discussions.
think so. That's why I think we still should talk about it, even though if I have to lean in towards to end, which I don't 100% agree on. That's why I'm thinking about maybe there are other two, um, I say, topics that should be discussed as well in terms understanding or being able to debate well on the topic whether we should get rid of Chinese characters or not. The first one is calligraphy. The
That's a
way,
great
yeah, calligraphy. When I'm talking about calligraphy, I'm not talking about any calligraphy. I'm talking about calligraphy with a paintbrush. We gotten rid of that, haven't we?
It's true that traditional brush calligraphy isn't as widely practiced today, but it still holds cultural and artistic value. While the tools might
I
change,
know
the
artistic value that we're holding a lot, but in the past, you understand how much practical value or how much of a skill it was. Like many years ago, when you were using a brush to write your essay to in the exams, and so, but nowadays it is just for very few people. One out of 100 people are practicing calligraphy, maybe. All right. So my point is, even though some parts of culture is very important or seems to be very important at the time, it is very possible that later on it can be gone or changed. Maybe Chinese character is one of them. Is it possible? I don't know. Uh, what do you think? Well, by the way, I'm 50-50 on this one. Where are you on getting rid of Chinese characters, which will benefit Chinese people and because they can read better? Where are you?
It's certainly possible for cultural practices to evolve or fade over time. Chinese characters are deeply ingrained in the culture, but change is always possible. I'm neutral on the matter, but I think it's important to weigh the benefits and challenges carefully.
Fair enough. Okay. Um, then apart from calligraphy, which has sort of died, which should not have died, according to the people at the time, 100 years ago, but now it has. Then another thing is the handwriting of the characters. Even though if you want to keep the characters, fair enough, I'll give you that. But how about handwritten, the form, the action of handwriting it? Now we really don't do that anymore, do we? Like we have our phones, and I think a grown-up Chinese person who is not in school rarely uses his hand to write anything except for his signature maybe. But in school, the the primary part of the exams assessments are still being used in the handwritten form, which my personal opinion is completely lag, and yet amongst with in line with actually what the society really is. It should catch up. people should stop using too much handwriting ways to test in schools and trying to, because once this student graduates, he stops using his pen. He throws or she throws his pen away, and he can or she can survive in the society very well. So what do you think? Shall we get rid of handwriting, characters in China, in Chinese?
Handwriting certainly has become less central in the digital age, and adapting education to reflect how people actually use language today makes sense. Reducing emphasis on handwriting could streamline learning and focus on more practical skills.
Yeah, so but my point is things are changing. If calligraphy can disappear as a skill but only exist as an artistic activity, all right, and then handwritten Chinese characters can should be, in my opinion, very strongly, should be reduced greatly in Chinese schools, right? Or any other learning facilities, really. And why not Chinese characters? The written, and which is not the language, by the way. You don't please don't mix Chinese characters with the language. It's a part of the language. It's a written form of the language. It's not 100% the language. That it's like handwritten Chinese characters is a small part of Chinese language too, right? Like calligraphy is also a small part of Chinese language, which has died almost, right? Why not the characters? If we have the ability to prove that handwriting Chinese characters will become is actually an obstacle, which I actually really think so. To what extent I'm not sure, but if we can prove that the characters is obstacle to Chinese understanding of knowledge, right? Advanced level of being or intellectual being, then why can't we do that? That's all I'm trying to say. Okay. All right. I think that's enough debate for now. I will talk to you later. Bye bye. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts. It was an interesting discussion. Take care. Talk to you later.
Bye bye.